Well, hello again. Welcome to the workshop. So, what's going on today? I've been making lots of videos, but I've been doing stuff, but I didn't think very much of it was YouTube videoable. Well, so I'm going to show you part of this one. It's nonsense. So, here's the problem. See that fella? It's great. Switch to lithium. It's big enough scooter to push you, I don't know, 25, 30 miles an hour. And I put this little thingamathing right here. It acts like a trailer hitch, so you can tip over a dolly halfway, about 45 degrees. It has a trash can strapped to it. And that can act as a trailer. Well, it was great. I made this so that at a campground, when your friends are quite a ways away, you can put your chairs, your cooler, whatever, into the trailer and get it over there without having to carry it that whole way. Well, the United States Corps of Engineers decided that somebody probably did something ignorant. So any electric vehicles like these, short of an e-bike that has pedal assist only, were outlawed in their parks. So specifically, even a bunch of handicap mobility devices were outlawed on the roads. You just can't take them from one spot to the other in the campground roads. So the state parks, no problem, but just the Corps of Engineers parks, you can't. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm too lazy to possibly be expected to actually carry it. So the solution at first was one of these. Found it used on Facebook Marketplace. E-bikes are legal, even at Corps of Engineers parks. This is everything surrounding Rend Lake and Carlisle Lake in Illinois. Specifically are the campgrounds where we frequent and we're not allowed to use our previous conveyances. So found this e-bike. It's got to put a trailer hitch on it for one of these fellas. An in-step bike trailer for kids. Well, we had a single wide one that wasn't quite big enough for all of our stuff we wanted to haul around. So we found this double wide one at an auction the other day. I believe it was a whopping $12. Anyway, problem is this one was front wheel drive. That's where the e-bike drive motor is on it, and there's not a lot of weight on that front tire, so it can slip. It works, right? It works. But then combination of, alignments happened, and this fella became available on Facebook Marketplace for $100. So I went ahead and transferred, or no, I got confused there. I already had that e-bike kit for this one. It was on a tricycle recumbent, and we'd already had our fun with it, done all kinds of stuff, and I decided that bike wasn't for us. So I took the electric kit back off and put it on this bike. It's worked great. Well, you saw the other one. This one you can't connect the trailer to, at least not at the moment. But that was the one where that Voila Mart motor, that guy sold for $50 because he had ripped the wires out of it. That one works fantastic, super fast. So this one was on Facebook Marketplace. Well, who cares? What are we doing here? What's the point of this video? Well, you've seen, I'm sure, how to add an e-bike kit to an existing bike. Lots of people like these because you can make it look clean. There's not lots of wires and nonsense sticking out. It already has a rack on the back built in the bike. And the switch between my wife and I for ride height or bike adjustment, no tools needed. Just pull levers, seat goes up and down, and it's got suspension. So they're great bikes, very comfortable. Not the best for riding. You're not going to go that fast because of the small tires, but they do work. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for our camping experience. But what's the problem? Why the YouTube video? Here's the dilemma. These trailers, which I want to use, need to attach to the left rear axle bolt. Well, these e-bike motor kits, the axle is bigger than the trailer hitch component what do you call it? Drawbar on a bike? No, receiver. The receiver will fit. So I'll show you. Just hold on. This is the hitch part. So it's supposed to mount on the rear axle about like that. And then the tube comes in at an angle and then goes straight back so that you have clearance around the back tire for making turns and whatnot. So this needs to mount on the bike about like that. Oops, like that. Right? Well, they recessed this opening. It's steel. I drilled this out to accommodate. You had to go to like 9/16. I think the axle's 22 millimeters on the e-bike kit, so out of the package just wouldn't fit. So I had to drill this hole bigger. That's done. It slides on the axle now. Problem is, you can imagine when you go to tighten this nut to secure the wheel on and this, well, it's recessed. And it's recessed at an angle. Well, you need bushings. I don't have any. So, as usual, this is going to have to be a custom rig. You also, because the wire goes through that side of the axle, which stinks, I'm going to have to pull all the pins out of the connector and slide everything through this hole. So it slides down through the wires and then across the axle and in there. But I need a custom bushing that's, you know, the same inner and outer diameter as that pocket. Well, I don't have anything, but I do have a lathe. So I guess I'm going to take this steel that used to be part of a 1960s weight bench, I think. It got cannibalized in spare parts. So anyway, it's steel. Gonna jam it in the lathe and make a bushing is the idea, because I thought about taking washers and then grinding the outside down. That's a pain in the pickle. And then how do you hold on to it to drill the hole out bigger? I didn't have any washers with the right size inner diameter unless they were super huge and I have to grind the outside down forever on a grinding wheel. So I think the lathe is the cleanest, most exact way to do this. So we're gonna proceed with that. That's it. I should slide all these parts back on the axle. It should pinch that against the frame to securely hold the wheel in. You can imagine the nightmare this will be to change a tire on the thing. But they are super big, heavy duty e-bike type tires, so I'm hoping that I don't get a flat and everything's kosher. But this is what it's going to take to put a hitch so I can tow this trailer to haul all our stuff around campgrounds onto that bike. So anyway, let's make a bushing. Well, you know it would be too much to ask for to have the through hole be big enough so I wouldn't have to deal with it. Of course, that's too much to ask for. We're gonna cut the bump off here and then we can use the rest of this rod. Can't something be easy once in a while? Nope. Uh-oh. All right. It's probably, yeah, it's easy enough to work with that. Hassa! This is a testing. Oops. Testing. Oops. Testing. Alright. Good enough for starting purposes. It's hard to give you guys a view and still have me in here to, you know, operate. Yeah, see what happens. That's never happened. What has occurred? I think it came out of gear. Hold on. Weird. I think it came out of gear. Anyway, it should be good now. Yeah, all right, that's done. Let's just start doing something this way. Let's see here. All right, just see what happens. I don't know the speed right. Let me figure it out. Well, it likes the cutting oil. My basement doesn't, but well, I gotta turn the fan on and get this done. You know, once you get good at this, things don't take very long. Problem is, I'm not good at it. Dang it. Anyway, I think that's about a good size for a washer, so it can, you know, move a little. All right. Not too much. Yeah. Whoop. This is extremely precise. Nope. All right. We can double check by holding the part on there, but pretty much this is the diameter we're looking for. I'm not going to bore you with that. You've seen the lathe, the work, and it's kind of in the way, so I'm going to turn that down to that diameter. Well, looky. I'm sure it's ugly, and machinists are freaking out like, oh my God, this guy. Well, it's done. Slips right in there. Now you just got to drill the hole out. That, sir, is relatively easy. Look at this stupid part, though. Did I already rant about it? It's at an angle, so you have to get these spacers out enough that the nut will go on without, because the nut has a, what do you call it, flange? So you want this to squeeze flat against that bottom surface, not the top. That'd be terrible. Stupid design. Anyway, I'm gonna drill the hole. Drilling time. What am I doing? Get on out of here. Boop. Oops. Okie doke. A quick rant about equipment. You can do a lot and do it precisely with cheap Chinese equipment. And not to pick on the Chinese, but just cheap equipment. The trick is you have to spend all the time tweaking on it and getting it set up and accurate the first time. The bandsaw you saw me, the metal bandsaw, it's the cheapest of the cheap. And I took a bunch of shims and a bunch of fooling with it and testing it to get the blade 90 degrees, right? To make a 90-degree cut when the stock is laying in there. But now it's done. So yeah, it's cheap. So is this lathe. I replaced the motor on it with a treadmill motor, believe it or not, and put this variable speed, electronic board from somewhere on it, and now it's very, very functional. It's got digital readouts up here, but it just so much of this stuff is cheap for homeowner grade, rare occasional use. It's like it doesn't make any sense to get the expensive stuff, and you can make it work. You just have to go to all the time to set it up. This one's got little shims in here to take backlash out. It's got a shim in here that takes backlash out of that. But when it's said and done and you tighten up the nut and tweak and wiggle and adjust and whatnot, eventually, at least for me, I landed on these things being pretty relatively precise. I mean, I'm not going to make aerospace components here, right? But again, for cheap stuff, you can do it. You just got to go set the machines up once and go through them really hard. Anyway, bubbly blue. Got the hole drilled. That's 9/16. So now you just got to use the cutoff. Oops, you can't even see it. Now you just got to do the cutoff tool and get them cut to the right thickness, and I think they'll be done. All right, trying it out. Just hilarious. This is what I'm talking about. What do you see? The wire comes through the nut, right? So all these pieces have to be slid down the wire. Okay. So let's do bullet connectors for those that fit through. And then let's do this giant plug that can't possibly... Come on, camera, what are you doing to me? That can't possibly fit through the hole of the nut. Why do people design things this way? There are, I'm positive of it, 5 conductor, plugs that would fit through there, but, well, they didn't use it. Anyway, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to fail to do this on camera, but if you reach in there, you should be able to poke the little thing-a-thong and then pull it out. Now, I took pictures of this already with my phone, so I know what goes where and which direction the little tangs stick out on, so I can shove them all back in there. But just... Oh yeah, forgot to show the finished product from the lathe. Made 2 different thicknesses because I wasn't sure what I really needed. I'm thinking about this. This is a thick, chunky part. The solution may be needed to grind a little of the surface down with an angle grinder so that, it's flat. It's the same thickness as the beginning, because it's not like this is going to be high torque. It's pulling a 50-pound maximum load kid trailer, so I'm not too worried about, super strength, but you get the idea. That slips in there. It's still questionable whether the nut's going to be able to tighten against that, but that's why I think I'm just going to kiss the surface and use the fat spacer. But the other consideration is I got to make sure that the axle nut can still go on there. I mean, I'm taking out the thickness of one washer, and I gotta have enough threads on the back of that axle that, I'm past the wire and to the strong point of the bolt, so that remains to be seen. I win. There's that. Get my greasy old foot out of the way. Get this wheel off. Boop. That's how she goes. There you have trailer attached. Oh gosh. That'll work. There was a can you see in there? We made it where most of the threads are on the beefy part of the bolt, not where the cutout is for the wire, so we're all good. That was that thicker spacer is the one I had to use, but that'll get it done.